A very good morning. How are you doing? James Okumu on Jam 316 Lifestyle Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in this wonderful morning. Watu wa TV karibuni sana. Watu wa radio, we've been at it since 6 in the morning, and so here we are. So, it's the 17th. Yes, it is 17th of January 2020. The year is rolling pole pole, and a lot of us, when the year begins, we have this, whether we call them goals, whether we call them resolutions, whether we call them aspirations, we want to become better. I want to do better than last year. You know, I need to work on my image. I need to work on my weight. I need to work on my speaking. I need to work on my career. I need to work on my prayer life. All these things we tell ourselves, this year, I want to work on this area of my life and become better in it. It's something all of us understand. So this morning, we'll talk about that and stretch it a bit into quite a number of things that you may not have thought about. And it's all about personal branding. You know, the brand that is you and the brand that you represent, and how those two tie together, and some things you need to know even as we roll into this year and look forward to amazing things. And so I invite you, as always, to be a part of this conversation. If you get a question and you want us to answer, please send it in immediately. 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786316316. I will be introducing our guest to you shortly. Before then, let's listen to some great music. Urban Rescue coming in with a beautiful track. This one is called His Name. There's no other name given under heaven by which men can be saved except the name of Jesus. That song is done by Urban Rescue. It's called His Name. It's playing on Family TV and Family Radio 316. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Lifestyle Friday. We do this every Friday from 8 until 9 simultaneously on Family Radio and Family TV. Today it's all about personal branding. In studio with me, image consultant, longtime friend, Nthenya Macharia. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you.
I'm so excited to be here.
You have no idea. You have no idea. But let's just dig into it.
Right.
Personal branding. What is personal branding? We hear this term a lot, especially in this generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Personal branding is a big thing. It's the big conversation.
Okay.
And it speaks to marketing oneself as a brand. And so having a consistent way that we behave, that we do our business, and that we conduct ourselves, and our names being associated with our brand or our business and our career.
Yeah.
And so that's what personal branding is about.
Okay.
And it's taken from big brands, but now we're making individuals become those brands.
Okay, so
and
we're kind of personalizing
sell themselves as products and the services that they offer.
Okay.
Yes.
How does that tie into the new year and all these resolutions we make and all
We
that?
all have them. And I'll say that, first of all, Happy New Year and Happy New Decade.
Yes.
It is such a significant thing that we've moved from the 19 to now we've gotten into 2020,
Yeah.
which is a wonderful and exciting time. When you look around the world, you see all the wonderful and exciting things that are happening.
Yeah.
We're living in a time unprecedented. And so as people come into the new year, I think for us, the excitement of the new year is not as it used to be,
Yes.
and yet it should be.
It should be, yeah.
So I should encourage people to be very excited about the new year and the new decade and what it holds for them, because it's an opportunity for us to do amazing things.
Yes.
Now, we all wake up with resolutions, or is it with lists of things that we want to achieve? I want to lose
Those of
weight,
us
I
who
want
are
to
more
gain weight.
sophisticated, we call them goals. We don't
I
call
know,
them
goal
resolutions.
setting and to achieve, not to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
anymore. We
Yes.
don't have to do lists.
Yeah.
And so the beginning of the year is a good time for us to decide what we want the rest of the year to be about.
Yeah.
Hence the setting of goals, where you say, I think last year, and first of all, I think it's important to take an audit of the year that passed, as opposed to just starting to do afresh. See what worked, what didn't work, what worked for you. And so if you're deciding that you're doing a personal brand, then there are 3 areas that we look at: appearance, behavior, and our communication. That's how we act, how we look,
Yes.
how we act, and how we interact. And that will form the basis of our brand.
Yeah.
There are other things like the touch points, which is the D, the digital part of it, and that we'll talk about in a bit. But
Okay.
on the most part, if you've decided that this year you want to make a difference, you want to make more money,
Yeah.
you want to impress your boss or do better at work, or you want to just start afresh. Some of us are in a season of transition.
Yes.
they're coming into their this is their jubilee year or whatever it is.
Yes.
It may be a season of transition, and you may be thinking about what can I do different, or what can I do to improve what I did in the last decade. And so that's where personal branding comes in.
Does personal branding matter? Because sometimes it seems like ni kazi mingi. Is it really that important?
We'll say image is everything. Before, remember the Sprite commercial used to tell us
Yes.
that obey your thirst, image is nothing.
Yeah.
Well, image is everything. People make a judgment about you 55% based on how you look. 33% is the tone of your voice, and then 7% is your words. How clever you are, what schools you went to, what degrees you have, only account for 7%.
Okay.
So the outward appearance and how we look is very important. So in relation to the brand, part of the reason when we talk about big brands, what we know is their logo and the color that they have.
Yes.
And then we talk about then their values and the things that they represent as a organization. Same thing with a person. That first we start with, what is your brand? What is your outlook? When we look at you, what are the things that we can say are you? And then we'll begin to talk about what are your values and the things you hold dear.
Okay.
So those will then relate to what people say about you. Some people will say, oh, James is a wonderful person. He's a dedicated, hardworking person. Or the other person, that guy is a con man. Or that guy is a... Because those attributes and our feelings and emotions towards you will then dictate our feeling towards the brand.
Okay.
So as we go into the new year, you want to begin to put some things in place for your personal brand to make sure that you, one, stand out above the rest.
Yeah.
And then two, that you're giving the promises that you've your brand promise to the people, because each brand has this is what I am about, and this is what I am bringing to the table. So you must not only tell us, but we must be able to see it in action, that whatever it is that you do and say are in alignment to what you've promised that you will do for us.
Okay. Would you say there's some people who are missing out on opportunities and avenues because they've not put much thought into their brand as a person?
First, I'll talk about appearance. A lot of people and a lot of Christians say, you know what, it doesn't matter what I look like.
God sees the heart, my sister.
I'm telling you, but man looks at the outward appearance in the same verse.
Very true.
The prophet was sent out, he was looking. This one is strong. That's because we are human, and that's what we look at. And so I find that a lot of us as Christians think that it's okay that I am deep and spiritual, which is not a bad thing, because that will build to the credibility of your brand. However, how you look, there is a prescribed way that we should appear or look. There are certain things, basic things, like being neat and smart, smelling good, looking well groomed. Those are important parts of your personal brand, because when people come into contact with you, they will make a judgment. They will decide, I can trust this person or I can't trust this person. I can do business with this person or I cannot do business with such a person. Partly because of our stereotypes, partly because of our upbringing and the things that we have thought about. So it's very important to look the part. If you're applying for a new job and you're going for an interview, you must have done the homework. What is required for that company? Some companies are laid back. You're going into some industry that doesn't require a lot of thought. Maybe you can have a lighter approach to the way you dress. But if you're going to a serious corporate, the international language for business is a suit. If you're not wearing one, we may think that you're not serious about that work. And so it's important to think through and do your homework to find out what is required for the industry that you are in. I don't expect that if you are a farmer, you'll be wearing a suit.
Definitely.
You're dealing with the locusts, it will be a completely different story. However, if you're in business, Nairobi, business, whichever town or city it is, it demands a certain way that we should look. It demands a certain way that we should behave and a certain way that we should communicate. So you'll find people saying, lakini hivi ndio naongeanga jo.
Mimi mse wa Islando.
Mimi
Nimetoka ghetto.
Nimetoka huko. it's fine in
Yeah.
a certain
Context.
context. But when it comes to another context, you can't be speaking French when the rest of people are speaking English.
Very true.
So you must find what is the mode of communication, what is the way that you should present yourself. And so there are different layers depending on what it is that people are trying to do this year. So you're trying to get a job, are you trying to grow your business? Are you trying to start a brand
Yeah.
or start a new brand
Yeah.
and say, my brand is Ndenya Macharia, my brand is Ndenya. So everything is built around me as a person, but I am building a brand hopefully that will last beyond me.
Yeah.
That it will go to other generations. And that brand is about it's about coaching, it's about helping people fix their personal brand. And we have three main areas: leadership, lifestyle, and legacy. So leadership, our personal brand, lifestyle, how we live our lives beyond the
Yeah.
brand. Because sometimes we work too hard and eventually break, and there are no spare parts for the body.
Yes.
So the wellness
Oh,
of
yeah.
our being is
Very
very
important.
important.
Yes.
And then legacy. Are you telling your story? For you, for example, James, we were talking about this. You and I worked together. We would
Yes.
say how long? 20 years ago.
Yes.
We have a history and a story to tell.
tell.
Many young people are looking at you and thinking, oh my God, I want to be like Jemo.
Yeah.
But they don't
They don't know the
realize
story.
that you have a story, and that story has built over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at telling people, let's begin to tell the stories. We don't have to wait till we are 90 for someone to now try and jog our memory
Yeah.
for us to remember what those stories are. So for you to grow your personal branding this year, there are certain things. We talked about three of them:
Yes.
appearance, behavior, and communication. And then we can now talk about the other things that make brands strong.
Wow, that's quite a lot to think about.
It
I want
is.
us to focus a little bit more about those three areas that you've mentioned, because a lot of us want to work on ourselves.
Yes.
More so because today we live in a social media driven age. It's all
Yes.
about how you look. It's
Yes.
all about what you said.
Yes.
You know, media has exposed all of us.
Yes,
You know, I
it
was
has.
telling you earlier, doing this show is much easier. Now they can see me.
They can
Before
see
they
you.
couldn't see me. So I
Right,
have to think about
right.
a lot of things.
Right.
You know?
Your image, you have to think about what you're going to look like.
Yes, so
Yes.
with all these things in mind, for that person who's saying 2020, I really want to work on myself, what are
Right.
some things you can tell them? Where can they begin?
Like I said, the first place to begin is your look and your appearance.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I said it's important to find a look. I like to use the tech company CEOs. A
Yeah.
lot of them have found a signature look. It is the dark shirt or t-shirt
Yes.
and the blue jeans and some nice dark pair of shoes, whether sneakers or other. That is their look. No matter what they are doing,
Yes.
wherever it is they are going, unless they're going to Capitol Hill or to some other big important meeting, that is how they will dress. When it comes to the political arena, some of our big name politicians around the world,
Yeah.
whenever they have business meetings, they will always wear the dark blue suit, the white shirt, and then the tie will vary based on country
Yes.
or culture. But then your red tie, red is the color for power.
Power,
It is actually it's the color for blood, and so it's a danger color. When we see it, we think right, and that's what it alludes to. And so thinking about your look, and your look starts with grooming. So for ladies, what is your hair going to look like this year? Are you going to be wearing makeup? What type of makeup? Is it a natural look? I mean, depending on the industry that you're in, a natural look probably will go better. If you're coming to a TV show,
Yeah.
you may want to have a little more makeup like what I've done today, so that your features and expressions can be seen and caught by the camera.
Yeah.
So your look for the men, well-groomed men do better than non-well-groomed men.
Oh, really?
Yes, you come with your ragged hair.
Yeah.
That may work in another industry, but in a more corporate, serious industry, you want to make sure that your hair is well kept, that your nails are neat and well kept. When it comes to, like for you, you have many options, but you can decide what your look is going to be. So how we look is very important, and that's also for our shoes. Don't wear the raggedy shoes. A lot of us have really good shoes that we're keeping to wear
For
for
Sunday.
for Sunday and for the wedding.
Yes.
Or for the function when
Yeah.
we're invited.
Yeah.
I tell people life is not a rehearsal. Wear the good shoes. Women carry the good handbag.
Yeah.
Don't keep it for some function that will yet to come. Wear the good look. Look the part. You are dressed the way you are dressed.
Yeah.
Based on how you look is how people will determine. And then we also say that people give money to people who look like they have money.
That's very interesting. I once saw a video of this guy, well-dressed business suit with a child, yeah, and a Ferrari behind him. And he was stopping people who were passing by, and he was telling them, can you help me? I forgot money. I forgot my wallet at home. I need some money to buy milk for this child.
Right.
Every person he asked, they gave him.
Stopped and gave him. Yeah.
Second scenario, a beggar asking for the same thing with a child.
Right.
No one gave them money. I thought, what?
People give money to people who look like they have money. If you look BBD, broke, busted, and disgusted,
BBD.
we think you're going to go and solve your life's problems fast before you do what it is that we've asked you to do. And so I'm not saying buy expensive clothes, because then that it moves into, oh, she's telling us to be material. No. But I'm saying you have to look the part. If we're going to say, for example, to a hospital to see a doctor, there's a certain way we expect the doctor to look.
Yeah.
If he came in sagging jeans and was channeling something, had some, nothing with dreadlocks, but was where we would be like, where's the real doctor?
Yeah.
Because that's what the expectation is. And so in the same way, if we're in the business world trying to make some serious business happen, then there's a look that we should have. Let's even throw in the fact that we are Christians and children of faith.
Yes.
We must represent the biggest brand on the planet, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I say, we talk about Jesus and people want to make Jesus look like he was poor. The guy had an accountant and people wanted to auction his clothes at his, that means those clothes were worth something. If he was wearing rags, they would have been for this dude.
Yeah.
So he was a brand that is worth emulating. And so it's important for you to look the part. Yeah.
Does how you look have anything to do with how you feel?
You've said it. If you look good, you feel good. Those two go together.
Yeah.
If you look bad, you second guess yourself and you're always in self-doubt. If you look the part and they say, oh, James would like you to stand and give the vote of thanks, let me tell you, you'll stand in a heartbeat.
Yes.
But if you walk into a place and you're like,
Hey.
why didn't they tell me that there was supposed to be a dress code?
Yes.
Or I should have. Then you start feeling not confident even about your giftings and the things that you are capable of doing.
Okay.
So how you look is equal to how you feel. And how you feel is equal to what you're able to do. If you feel good, but then there's nothing you can't do, even changing the world.
Yes.
People who feel good are confident.
Yes.
There's something about walking into the room and feeling like you're well dressed. And then I also say, if you're, say for example, invited to an event and you don't know what to wear, then it's important to overdress.
Not underdress.
Not underdress. Because if you go there, like I said, and you find that they were wearing tuxedos and you won your African shirt,
Oh my goodness.
you'll be feeling a little bit embarrassed,
Yeah.
or you'll not even feel as confident
Yes.
to exchange your cards or do the biashara that is relevant. And so that's very important. The look is I told you 55%. If we were doing an exam, that's a C. Without
Wow.
opening your mouth to talk. You've already reached C+.
Okay.
Apple.
Do you have any questions for us today? It's all about you and your image, even as we look forward to this new year that God has given us. Maybe there are some things you're thinking, okay, what about this? What about that? SMS is 20316, WhatsApp 0786316316 as we continue with Lifestyle Friday. Some beautiful music for us. This is third day. Song is called Soul on Fire. Soul on Fire, playing on Family TV and Family Radio 316. How are you doing? It is Lifestyle Friday. Personal branding is what we're talking about today. In studio with me, good friend, image consultant, Ndenya Masharia with us. And we are talking about, you need to rebrand yourself this year.
Personal branding. Our soul is on fire.
Our souls are on fire. I'm telling you.
Personal branding.
Yes.
Because it's something that we must be excited about. We were created in the image and in the likeness of God. Image. I tell people, it's in the beginning. In the beginning of the book, Genesis 1:26-27. He said, let us make man in our image and likeness. Then male and female, he created them. Means we were created to represent God by the way that we look. So it's very important. And our souls must burn for that, because our authentic self represents the kingdom, represents God and the essence of who God is.
Very true.
Yeah.
Wow. And all the more us who are believers, we need to set the pace.
All the more children of faith.
Sometimes people think that if you like nice things, there are people who like nice things. Me, I like nice things. I want to look good. I want to look nice. People think it's pride. People think you want to show off.
Okay.
What
So
would
first,
you
let
say
me
to
say
that?
that I'll say that the desires that we have,
Yeah.
God gave us.
Mm-hmm.
In the 6 days that God was doing work, He created beautiful things.
Mm.
For those of us who look at the world and our environment and the things around us, there's some flowers you look at and you're like, wow.
Wow.
There are some birds you look at and you're like, this is pure opulence. How
Yes.
can a bird have so many colors, and how can a bird look so glorious?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the same way, God put certain desires in us, and for wanting beautiful things, I think a beautiful environment. Before the world was created, it was void and dark. It was not nice. It was not pleasant.
Yeah.
Then God said what He wanted to see. Let there be light. And there was light. And then from the light, then He began to create.
Yes.
And we were created in His image and likeness. Therefore, we have the same creativity that God has. And He's given us the ability to see a tree and from it have a table.
Yeah.
See whatever it is and convert it to something. That is the
yeah.
gift that we were given. So the beautiful things that you see and you like are part of the essence of who we are. And so, number one, it's not bad. I think it's bad to want the things in excess.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is a limit to the number of clothes you can have in a closet.
yes.
Except for you only have one pair of feet. Therefore, when we see you, we will see you with the one pair of
shoes,
shoes.
yeah.
So 100 others in your closet are not going to do you any good when we meet you and when we see you. So the fewer, less is always more.
Yeah.
And the minimalist approach is a good one. However, you know what? Solomon had Jazad. So if you feel that is your calling,
Yeah,
go
Jazad.
right ahead. But it doesn't serve you really well.
Okay.
That's one, that we were created to appreciate the wonderful things that God has made through us, the human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's important for us to understand that in this, the life that we are living today, we ought to represent the kingdom and not have a false sense of humility. And that's what I find people having,
Yeah.
where we're like, you may be the CEO of your own company,
Yes.
or the director of your own, the founder of your company. But when we ask you, you'll be like, oh, we have this false sense of humility because we think that that is what the world is looking for, or that's what will get us ahead.
Yeah.
I like to say that Jesus was the best example of being out there. We would be drinking water, and he'd be like, that water you're drinking is nothing compared to me. I am the living water.
Yes.
You'd be like, that door, that wood is nice. Huh? You'd be like, that door is nothing. Me, I am the way, the truth, and the
Yes.
life. I am the door. He had the I am statements and was not ashamed or afraid to say who he was
Yes.
and what he was about.
Yes.
In the same way, with our giftings and the talents that God has given us, part of our branding is being able to articulate properly what we are capable of doing and who we are. Understanding who we are and what we were created to do is critical
Yeah.
for us to grow big brands. So if you're there busy checking the internet and trying to be like so and so, that's where you're doing yourself a disservice. It's in spending time with God
Yeah.
and hearing the voice of God, seeking His word and knowing this is what I was created to do. And when we ask our friends around, they'll tell you, you know what, you're really good at talking to people, you're really good at making spaces look beautiful, you're really good at your craft, whatever your craft is.
Yes.
Be good at it. In fact, be excellent at it.
Yeah.
And then don't be afraid to tell people that that is what you're good at and that is what you're excellent in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Greetings. I'm loving the conversation. Do you think that how we dress, especially as young people, expresses our level of maturity? So we should work on the inside and it will make it easier to dress confidently.
So what I think that we have different generations in the workplace
Yeah.
or in the world. There are and I won't name them in the way the world names them, but for us, we have the older generation.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be us. It would be our parents and that generation. The way they were brought up is very different from us. And so you'll find the older people walking to the bank, they will wear their coat.
Yeah.
They will be formally dressed because that's the way that they were oriented when they were growing up. And then you'll have I'll put us in the older-ish generation, where for us, we can be all things to all men.
Yeah.
We know when to wear the suit. We know when to be, what is appropriate for the different things. Then we have the younger generation who sometimes I feel think that this is our time and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
My advice would be that depending on who it is that you're interacting with, whoever it is that you're going to meet or present yourself before, you should think about what generation they fall in and then be appropriate for that generation. If you're going to meet older people and they're the decision makers, dressing in a suit or appropriately will give you an edge over the next person because they will see you as a responsible person. Now, if you're peer to peer, then it may be different. If you're going to meet your buddy at a coffee and that's where you're doing your business, it'll mostly be in jeans and you'll probably dress the way you feel like because those are your peers and they understand that generation. I do say though, my caveat is that there are extremes. There's some of the trends and fashions that are not relevant for Africa and they're not even relevant for human beings. Like they're not relevant
for human beings.
They're not relevant. Even some of the things we see on the catwalk. There's no
just for the catwalk.
They're for the catwalk.
Yeah.
That person is a certain size. That size is not a regular size, and you don't find it everywhere. And so it's not appropriate. And so, hence I say, like for example, in Africa, the average person is a size 14, 16. So certain things will not work because of our body structure and the way that we were created. And so we must embrace that and not say, in a stretcher, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Because when we look at you, the first thing we're going to begin to think is, that doesn't fit right. If that doesn't fit right, then how will you take care of our business? If you can't understand what fits you right or what looks good on you, then how will you take care of our business? If your hair is unkept, we'll begin to think, if you can't comb your hair, how will you do the nitty-gritty when it comes to the things that we've asked you to do? And so that's what, unfortunately, the world is looking at and saying, is this person meticulous in how they do their things? If they are neat and organized, we needed a neat and organized person. This person may be organized, but from what we are seeing, they may also have a tendency to be not organized or not neat.
Wow.
So that's what
you were sharing something earlier about a season in your life where you were helping with artists.
I was helping with artists. I did a season in my life where I worked with various artists across cross-section of artists, both secular and Christian. And I would speak initially, it was at the time when, these were big name brands. But for me, it was a big deal how they looked. And the question I would ask is, when you go to a company looking for sponsorship for an event that you have, what's the first thing that they ask you? And a lot of them would say, where is your manager? And I said to them, they were asking for the manager because the manager would come dressed in a certain way and would be able to understand what they are talking about. Or in their view, they thought you were not capable of handling millions because of the way that you've
presented yourself.
And so they wanted somebody else who would come, who would look the part and understand the business world and the business language so that then they could run the affairs for you. And so what I began to see was a lot of them began to change the way they looked. And when they did, then the sponsorships became more and the endorsements became more and the gigs became more. Why? Because also brands are looking to partner with people who are like
people will enhance their brand.
Who will enhance their brand and not diminish their brand or the values that they hold. And so if you look a certain way, they may not pick you. And so for me, again, it's about doing your homework. Some of us as personal brands, our dream is that we get that deal. That sponsorship. That today the world is big on influencers. So you're building your personal brand so that a company takes you on as an influencer. Now, you have to have done your homework to see what are the values these people look at. What are the things that are big for them? So if you're busy exposing yourself, again, now let's move to digital, social media. You're exposing certain aspects of your life. When we look at your social media, it may have been a party, you're busy saying, kwa lijana kuliendaje. We will be like, this cannot be part of our brand. We cannot associate ourselves with you because of what you stand for and the way you're acting or what we have seen online. So people are taking a lot of time to go on our digital space. We will look at your Facebook, we will look at your social media and see what kind of posts you post. If your posts are, say, ethnic driven, and now at this point you're busy fighting for certain causes, we may think, you know what, we can't have this person because their content will affect our brand and will affect the things that we hold dear and the values. And then it's easy to create a brand.
Yeah.
Anyone can create a brand, but it's even faster to destroy one.
Destroy one. Very true.
And it's destroyed by very simple things. Small things will destroy a glorious brand. This brand was doing well. It was a big brand, but something really small, like something that was said, will destroy a brand completely.
Yeah.
The minute we go Kenyans on Twitter, we are rough.
Yes.
Like another style.
Very true.
Your brand can move from hero to zero.
To zero.
In a matter of seconds, because
Wow.
that's the world that we live in today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was the whole issue of
Appearance.
appearance.
Appearance is how we look. Behavior will pick another day to do that, and then
Yeah.
communication. We talked about the Nyaji.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll get into that shortly. If you have any questions for us this morning, 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. We have about 20 more minutes before we run out of time for this conversation. So don't wait until 5 minutes to 9 and then you're sending me 52 questions. No, send them in now so that we can get through them as we continue to talk about personal branding. As we do so, some more music for us. This one is the song Just As I Am. Just As I Am, playing on Family TV and Family Radio 316. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Lifestyle Friday. Today it's all about personal branding. In studio with me, image consultant Ndenya Masharia is with us. Your questions are coming in on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. I have a question here that says, I hope you guys are faring on nicely. I really love the show. It's very educative. I'm a hairdresser. How can I better my brand and my dress code?
I'll say for the hairdressers, first of all, their hair must be impeccable.
Because that's what you're about.
Because that's what you're about. So we come to you, your hair looks funny, and then you tell me, I can really make your hair look good. We will begin to doubt. And so in your craft, that's the biggest part.
Yeah.
And then I think the other things are, it doesn't matter what you, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter what you wear. Whatever you wear should be neat, clean. So if you're wearing jeans, a nice shirt, it should be nice, clean. And then you must smell good because you're coming into close personal contact with us. And for us, you're going to be over our head, and if you don't smell good, some of us have worked the whole day, you didn't wear deo, you're smelling a bit
goodness.
funky, then in my head, I'm not coming back. Not because you didn't make my hair nicely, but because it was not a great experience. Those of us who were done hair back in the day, we used to be put on another woman's lap.
Yeah.
And we remember how that woman smelled, and it was we were traumatized.
Oh my goodness.
Hence today they gave us seats where you stand behind us, but sometimes you do have to come into contact with us. So how you smell would be a big deal as a hairdresser. And then I think being a person of your word, now that's where you're the essence of who you are.
Yeah.
So with the people in the service industry, time is a big deal. If you tell me to come at 2:00, don't start my hair at 4:30.
Yeah.
And I know you're busy,
Yeah.
and you're like a doctor to us, especially for women. The hairdressers are like doctors to us. So make sure that you're not keeping us waiting forever.
Okay.
So if it's 2:00, it's 2:00. Learn to plan your time, because that's, I think, what fails most hairdressers. A lot of them have lost clients because you told me to come at 2, you kept me waiting, and then you didn't do it once, you did it over and over and over again. So being able to be that person who is good for your word, then is important.
Okay.
In that industry.
Maggie, thank you for tuning in today. Maggie is asking, there's a belief that image consultants are very expensive. Is this true? And is there a body that regulates personal branding?
So in Africa, in Kenya, there is none. We are in the process of putting together some systems that will help to regulate some of the things that happen. But I do say not all of us are expensive. Like for me, my initial consultation, and I'll say it out on radio, is free. Why? Because a lot of people come to me thinking that they need their image or they need new clothes, but that's not necessarily what they need. Some of us have to deal with some personal issues because what we are on the inside reflects on the outside. So you see us with a certain look or a certain behavior, it's something that's eating us on the inside. And once that is resolved, then, or you're in transition, once the stage of transition is resolved, then you'll find that it's easy for you to then dress a certain way and feel confident about yourself and things like that. So no, and then also you're better off coming to us and paying a small consultation fee or coaching fee
Yeah.
than it is to buy expensive clothes and spend so much money buying the wrong thing. Things that don't suit you, don't fit you, don't fit the part that you're trying to do. So what we will do is give you some clarity
Okay.
in terms of what you should do. And I say it should then become cheaper for you in the long run, as opposed to saying they're expensive and then you go out make mistakes. So the other example I like to use is the one of if people take their cars to the garage and they're spoiled.
Yeah.
Why don't we spend time to take ourselves to the experts when some of the things need fixing?
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's true. Somebody was telling me that some of these leaders and politicians, especially when they now get into a new office, like now somebody's elected president or somebody is in a very high position, that they usually get an image consultant and a personal coach. Is
Yes.
that true?
Yes. Because you're dealing with all three aspects. There's the aspect of appearance and how you're supposed to look and
Yeah.
what is expected of you. And for leaders, you're going to be in different forums. So you'll be invited to the Queen's banquet, you'll be invited to different places, and there's certain things that are necessary.
Yeah.
And then there's the behavior, which is your decorum, the protocol, and all those things fall in that, where there's a certain way that you should conduct yourself. This is how we eat with a fork and knife. This is how to conduct a cocktail. So when you're hosting events, all that is lessons that must be taught. And then for communication, in order for this person to be a great orator and for them to command the masses and to do what is required, they need people to help them. Some of them don't start, most people actually don't start out like that.
Yeah.
Obama, being a good example, didn't start out like that, but he
Oh.
had people to guide and coach him throughout that space. Unfortunately for us, we say that for us we take anything,
Yeah.
but I still think that the bar is being raised even here, where there's a certain way that we expect our leaders to behave and for them to be. And so it's important if they, and especially now because we have so many new spaces in government that were never there before, it's important for even people in government, politics, to take up image consulting as a serious thing,
Yeah.
and to see that their image matters when it comes to not just, because they're representing not just us. When they go abroad, they represent the country. They are the ambassadors for Christ.
Yeah.
More so, again, us who are children of faith.
Yes.
We are the ambassadors for Christ.
But do we really understand what that means?
I don't think we do, and maybe some of us do and some of us don't. And for those who don't, I've come to say it is important for you to recognize that when we see the ambassadors for the different countries, in fact, that should be the homework, case study. Go and see how they look and how they speak and how they represent their countries. There's certain things that they do and don't do. And it's important for us who are children of faith to know the kingdom that we are representing and what it stands for. So those things become part of our personal brand.
Yeah.
Things like integrity, things like, I told you, being a person of your word.
Yeah.
That what you say, what you do, and what you think are the same.
Yes.
Then we'll be like, okay, this person, and then also the excellence in what we do. That we
that's-
do our stuff to a level of excellence that is not questionable.
Can we dwell there a bit?
We can.
Because I find that a lot of us believers are very mediocre. We expect grace to substitute excellence.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And our value system is based on the love of Jesus.
Yes.
Yet the value system that the rest of the world is operating is on how good you are. So when people are hiring, we're always looking for the best
Yes.
in their field, in the industry. If it's in the tech world, we want the best coders, the best people in that industry. Why? Because then they will give us the best output.
Yeah.
So it must be the same for us. Our value system must be that I will give people the best. And I'll tell you for free. If people give you the best, it's easy for us to pay anything
Yes.
to get the best. Part of the reason you'll find people driving the Mercedes-Benz, because we think it is a wonderful brand.
Yeah.
We'll have the
Yeah.
iPhone because we think it is, well, for the Android people, the other phone.
Yeah.
A church of jobs.
Yeah.
We will buy it because we know it's been done with excellence.
In fact,
when
we
you
will
get it,
we will save
we will
and
not-
deny
we will-
ourselves.
We will deny ourselves worldly pleasures.
I am telling you.
To upgrade, because when that box arrives
Yeah.
and you unpack it, you just see love.
Yeah.
You see excellence. You see all manner of goodness
Yeah.
put into that. It should be the same with us. We should go above and beyond what is called of us. This is the example of Jesus. Even when the healing didn't happen completely, he made sure that the process was repeated until the
Yes.
person got the outcome that was necessary to them. It wasn't for, you can see a bit, then okay,
sawa.
what's the problem?
Better than where you were before.
Uko sawa.
Yeah.
No, he was like, we must complete the process.
Yeah.
And so with the work that people have given us to do, that will be the determinant. If we do it and go above and beyond what the expectation is, then people will be like, you know what, this is I will pay anything. And we'll go even to any end. The lady who comes to clean my house,
Yeah.
when the one who cleans even places I never expected,
Yeah.
I will pay her extra and I will call
you
her
call her
back
again next
the
week?
next time. You come and you're like, nitakuja next week. Hapo siku. Imagine we're going to just forget that story.
Not my JD.
Which is a big part of, and we're not saying be manipulated
Yes,
and be used. No, we are saying, if you see, especially for us as children of faith, the
Yeah.
Spirit of God gives us the unction
Yes.
to see where there are problems and where gaps can be filled.
Yeah.
It's in us bringing solutions to our organizations that people will be like, this person is, we can't even do without this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
The day you go and leave, people are panicking all over
Yes.
the place because your work is unmatched. It's impeccable. And that's for me the challenge for the new year, that this year you must determine to do not just your best, over and above what is expected of you.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because my word for this year is extra.
I love it.
Extra.
I love it.
You know, we some of us believers, we are praying for God to bless our businesses,
Right.
but our services, man,
Right.
are
Right.
lacking.
And our services are lacking, and then I'll throw in we're not marketing our services. So we're like, oh, that's social media, oh, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Tell us what it is that you're able and capable of doing. Before we used to have to pay for an ad, you and I know.
Yeah.
You had to pay for a space
Yes.
on radio. Today you can be your own radio station. You can post your
Yeah.
own promos,
Yes.
and the world will listen, and the world is ready to absorb
Imagine.
it, because content is everywhere.
Yeah.
We're looking for content. Content is king. So we have an opportunity to showcase what we are capable of doing.
Yes.
And then the caution here is, don't overdo it if you don't have the capacity, because now that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Then all of us will start calling.
Yes.
And when we start calling you, you're like, and then we go into the spiral. Let me get back to you, and then procrastination. Next week, next month.
Yeah.
I had a lady do some work for me, and the work was not what I expected,
Yes.
and so I asked her to redo it. This was in October. I have been following up ever since, and she's like, oh, the rider hasn't, oh, I don't have transport, oh, I don't have this, I don't
Oh,
have
my
all
goodness.
manner of excuses.
Yeah.
Yet when we began really well.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. If you're selling products, make sure that if the people don't like the product, you're able to take it back and replace it with a product that they are happy with. Why? Because word of mouth is the biggest.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is a big seller. People will tell, oh, you know what, talk to them, call them. But it is also the one that destroys you.
Yes.
For, hey, that person.
That one.
And when we like something, we'll probably tell 4 people.
Yes.
When we don't like something, we'll tell 20 people. Everyone who cares to listen. And
We'll
so
tell
when
them.
you're building your personal brand, companies can be absorbed, and they can even close. They can shut down and then rebrand and call themselves something else.
Yes.
In most cases, when it comes to personal brands, it's very hard to shut down Ndenya and start. I probably could pick another name and call myself Shaniqua or whatever it is. But still, when people Google it properly,
Yeah.
they will still go back and, because it's related to my face.
Yeah.
It's related to my name, and it's a legal name, so it's attached to many other things.
Yeah.
So as you work on your brand, don't ruin your brand by taking on work that you can't do or that is too much for you.
Yes.
Make sure that you're able to sustain or do you're better off telling me, I'm not available to do your work this month. Then you've met my expectations.
Yeah.
Then promise me stuff and then not deliver. And that now comes to the essence of the brand, because the brand is about emotions. It's about our reputation. It's about the impression that you leave us with.
Very true.
So it's not just the colors and the colorfulness and
No.
how we look.
Yeah.
Now it's right down to doing the things that you've promised people that you're going to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hearing voices in my head. No, it's not the voice of the Lord, it's the voice of the producer. We've run out of time. What's your parting shot?
My parting shot is that if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you do good. And if you do good, there's nothing that you cannot change. So look the part for 2020 and make sure that you represent the brand, the biggest brand, that is the brand of Jesus Christ.
Great.
Yeah.
Tuma salamu.
Natuma Salam, Njoki was listening. Njoki and I used to work together, and then my fam who are listening. Now Apenda wo te, and then 2020. Come to an image consultant near you, ndenya.com.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you found something in the midst of everything we've talked about that can help you as you rebrand yourself in 2020. That's all the time we have for our discussion for today. Before we get to 9 o'clock, I have time for one more song for you. This one is Mia Fields. The song is called Fearless.